I hope you're not afraid of heights, because I will always have some players who've gone to the heights and beyond. Haha, you thought I was going to make a Vertigo joke. Hey, it's saw's map pick as we go into it. And Eyeball is, of course, coming out on top on Inferno.
Man, I really feel baited. You've subverted my expectations even coming into this game. And Eyeballers certainly have in this series. sAw definitely with the higher ranking, definitely have been in better form. Eyeballers putting their foot down on Inferno. We'll see whether there is going to be a better fight put up by the Portuguese on their map pick in Vertigo. But right now, it's looking like they've targeted the right bomb site. It's completely vacant. Eyeballers going with a majority stack on that A side and only having deep CT control via flusha. So it's a full 5-on-5 retake.
Looks like it's an empty server dry run going on so far. Now they've remembered there's opponents as well, and Muterus has taken one down, not really dropped off the elevated position. No reason to do so just quite yet. Advantage down and maintained. flusha will be able to get a refrag or two, but even then it's all going to be falling apart and maybe even falling apart on our screens. But regardless, we'll just be 3 players kept alive. sAw takes it home.
Yeah, we saw the last frame before devastation, and the Eyeballers are put in their place. Had a stack on that A side, sAw coming with a different plan, and just are able to mosey their way all the way through that B bomb site without any sort of resistance from the Eyeballers. And even though they had, you know, a flash, smoke, a kit available, they just weren't in great enough positions to implement it. Kind of similar to what we saw on the Inferno pistol as well. Because you have retake utility, doesn't mean you're always going to have the same space that's necessary to use it. Down into USPs, the Eyeballers not getting much of anything in that prior round. I like that sAw are not being scared by these USPs. Aggressive maneuvers by Doche over towards the B-bomb site. He's fully clearing that out while his teammates are asserting some presence over at A as well.
Roman misses out on what could have been death, what could have been a lot of money. Who really knows? Oh, well now he definitely knows what the rotate's coming through, and he is definitely planning a bit of extra cash coming in out of it all. Yeah, what an absolute sneaky bastard this man is.
Yeah, waited for the steps before he made his move, because he knew his teammates had full control of the B-bomb site, so they had to be around him somewhere. And yeah, the Eyeballers were none the wiser that he was going to be right there waiting for the right time to strike.
I think the real question now is, will we see any players from Eyeballers on the B-bomb side?
Almost certainly. I mean, there has to be.
You gave it away. I'm actually very curious to see how exactly flusha will be playing this one out. Of course, CT side of Inferno, we saw a lot of Mag 7 play and whatnot coming into it. Not really seen him all as much on the rifle and the B-bomb side. Definitely where we should see him shining a little bit more.
Kind of a cheeky angle from pepsAw. Hard to hit the headshot. From the T side perspective, his head is covered majority by the pallets. So I like that they're playing pretty forward here on this defense. You know, not giving away ramp for free. All the meanwhile, pepsAw is clearing mid. And actually has the fast line. Could that even become an option? But that's actually cutting them down at the gate. Future release a trade right back to JW, and sapec dropped as well. So pepsAw will commit to this flank, and he'll put sAw on a timer.
Might have been a bit of miscommunication coming up between sapec and JW over there, but yeah, sAw rotation will be coming out and through. Good forward from pepsAw, catches off Doche, so right back to the 3-on-2. sAw will get the bomb plant in regardless, and that's when Shine and company will start to move forward, but the flashbang to interrupt any ascent. Muterus talked about how he is the big man on Vertigo. Unfortunately, he's the only man right now left on the bomb set, and not for long. So Eyeballers will recover, but only 2 players kept alive.
That was a dirty shot, and really felt like it was going to allow sAw at least the additional manpower that was needed to bring that one over the line, but pepsAw just doing so much on that flank, keeping them pinned in position, and if they couldn't deal with him, then there was really no safety in the after plant. Eyeballers striking back as soon as they get onto the rifles, and so sAw will have to move in for a reinvestment, one that could couple their own economy down into a position where Eyeballers can actually overtake.
Even when I saw it in the replay, I got a bit shocked. I knew it was coming.
Yeah, one of the... I mean, honestly, Muterus has been very impressive for his role on the team. You know, he's the in-game leader, he's the oldest man on this squad.
Yeah.
And at one point or another, even took a break from in-game leading for sAw. I think Stododo took the reins for a little bit. That's where Story was brought in as an AWPer, and then they got rid of him when Muterus took back over. All very cyclical.
That was a weird time.
Very odd indeed.
JW's been exploited. Roll on the one, find him. sapec trying to phase out the smoke, will not be in for too much of a good time. Flashbang dodged out, but he's turned away. You jerks to find him and shut him down. Shine needs to put up a defense, unable to get more than just the one. Flush has lost most of his HP. Over towards that B-bomb, so I wouldn't be surprised if the call is to save, but flusha now is still trying to go for any sort of an initial peek that he can, or initial play to be made via Pepsor's hands. But they will end up... Are they retreating or not? Like, what's going on over here, right? Flusha's backing off, Pepsor's deciding maybe I can stick around.
Yeah, Pepsor still wanted to go for at least a little bit more damage, maybe to incentivize them back in, but flusha, given his HP, was already calling it quits, so maybe not on the same page. See, Pepsor still sticking around to see if anyone on sAw decides to chase, but they should be worried about their own money. It would be nice if flusha could nab one of these rifles that's dropped along the path. See Roman doing due diligence, making sure to pick up any nades that have been dropped over. A passive end to allow these two weapons to be saved here on the eyeballers. flusha picking up an AK, and sAw moving in with a third round on this T side. Now, things started off well on Inferno. You know, we talked about the fact that they could have been at a 10-5 lead moving in out of that first half on Inferno. They started on that T side as well. So as much as they would want to start to feel good about how the proceedings have gone thus far on the second map, they know it's not without some potential issues later on. Very passive angle from Muterus, spotted one player cross, so they should be very aware that a flank could be coming. Pepsor will be sussed out. That's one of the rifles that was saved over from the last round. sapec found by the AWP. They didn't commit around these two weapons. They know they've gone by around the corner. But they were hoping that would get into an advanced spot. flusha does peel one back, but trades instant from the sAw camp.
JW won't have an option either. I'm very curious to see how they utilize him in Vertigo. Because obviously on Inferno we saw him finding actually a fair bit of success when he's forcing out peaks and going for aggressive picks on the A-bomb side, but really nothing whatsoever on the retakes. So far he's been...
flusha, no? And then dropped it over?
Yeah. You're right. No, I think you're right, definitely. Would have probably been a little bit light on utility for him, though, and as the B-bomb side player, you don't really want to see that happening. Regardless, so I mean, even that just speaks volumes, right? The fact that they're not prioritizing the op and JW, he's not been having the greatest of time playing from Tarp. Been, you know, one or two places where between him and sapec, they've not had the best of communication either. And to be frank, eyeballers haven't been having a good time across almost all of their players.
Mm-hmm.
But let's see what the turnaround is going to be.
Yeah, it took a couple of rounds of heroics from either flusha or JW to, you know, spark a little bit more interest in their Inferno CT side. And we've yet to really see that come to fruition here on Vertigo. There is always hope, but wonder whether sAw will leave hope at the door. Wouldn't be surprised if we start to see, you know, Pepsor go for that aggressive line more and more frequently, you know, try and pressure sAw when they're trying to set up for either A control or B stairs as a territory to set up for an execute. If Pepsor can be a nuisance in middle, maybe even deal with Muterus, then there is always a way forward. Not even sure how Muterus took the damage at the start of this round, whether he was tagged by utility or whether that was a teammate. It felt like it was so early, it had to have been a teammate.
What does 47 damage, though?
A right click to the back, perhaps?
I think it does less than that. Not sure. Wouldn't be the best at damage values when it's being done by teammates and knives.
Yeah. Reduce damage to teammates, so it can be hard to gauge at times.
Look at how fast eyeballers are willing to angle back over towards the A bomb site from all the training that's actually come through, and that is the worst decision they can make at this point. Flush has only got a smoke, no flashes to actually help out, not for his teammates either to actually come through, and this will be a rough time. Rotations are being called in, but the cavalry will not be there before Muterus is. Muterus traded out, but flusha loses a lot of life for it. Makes it all the more easy for Ujurx to trace him and bring him down. And now the 3-on-4, you've got no kit, you've got no util, a grenade that isn't going to find a kill, and now Shine's low as well. This seems like it is a call to save it, seeming inevitable. JW, however, with another kill found, is actually making this a bit more possible. sAw's response is to push back into CT spawn, and this does differentiate them from the bomb itself. So it'll be hard to get anyone off of the defuse. Roman getting aggressive. Shine on the other side is ready for it, but Roman gets a headshot immediately. He can't actually get the defuse taken down, so despite the good kills he's getting, the movement from the head as well. sapec almost gets it done, but I think he took himself off of it in the end.
Yes, I'm pretty sure. So the thing about defusing these days is that you make too sharp a turn and it will actually take you off the defuse. There was once upon a time people used to bump their DPI and spin like no tomorrow to try and keep themselves from getting headshot. He tried to just do these fast 180s, and for a while it worked, but it was in the final, I think, 1 or 2 spins that he ended up taking himself off of the defuse, and it was moments away from a full stick.
Damn. Heartbreaking round.
That's Valve spitting in your face. That was a change that happened quite some time ago, and that's the way that people try to circumvent it, you know, like just make smaller movements, because if you do too sharp a turn, then those diffuse wires just suddenly disconnect.
Roman hitting some nut shots as well, right? Don't get me wrong, but
yeah,
wouldn't have mattered in the end. Now sAw, they had money. They don't care if it's a one-on-one. CT is pushing through. sAw, perhaps some desperation in the Deagles, but the hands will find no blood.
Doing the most to JW there. Saw it sailing towards him, but bullets will be what finishes him off. Half-back movement has found a whole lot of nothing so far. So doing a good job of mitigating losses as well in these rounds gone by. Roman caught with util out in hand, and so threw the Molotov down, but he lost his reinforcements. The player that was supposed to back him up on his retreat. In fact, the nade from flusha will finish off the job. So Roman, we saw from his perspective, that was hectic. Couple of rifles lost over towards A ramp, but they're still sticking around here on sAw to make sure this doesn't fall into enemy hands.
Story isn't going to want to use the Molotov either. That's going to force him to unscope, and before that's even a possibility, sapec finds him. So 2-on-2. Rotations coming in as well. flusha on the flank to potentially catch them off too, but the question is, how long will it take him before he gets here? Molotov well placed, but it's a little bit late, so it wouldn't have mattered all that much regardless. They don't even take a single point of damage from it, so it is effectively completely useless. If flusha can find a kill, there is a rifle as well that he could collect. Still an opportunity, perhaps. Ujurx's position given up as well. Aristotle, however, is being peeked into his missed his shots. He missed his chance. Shine now taking the duel off. flusha as well will combine forces with a flashbang. Ends up blinding shot. flusha and Shine simply can't find anything. Even if he gets the kill, I don't think he's got time, and he realizes it as well.
Oh, man, that was so close. They had the right idea. flusha last seen on the A site, re-navigated through middle to commit to a flank, and that was something that sAw were not anticipating whatsoever, but that flash, had it not blinded up Shine as well, he was lined up for that trade perfectly, and he would have had the defuse if it had happened in that instant, but those extra seconds, sure, it's by the skin of their teeth, but sAw are squeaking away with some very close rounds. A Roman 1 versus 3, and then now a round like this where even on Eyeballer's half buy, starting 3 on 5, they almost win it. Early indicators. Heard the tag on the Molotov and hear the steps in through middle. They're pretty far forward on the B defense on the Eyeballers, so Pepsor would have heard all of this noise being mustered up by the Portuguese squad. After all that presence, they peel away. So the Eyeballers will be left guessing. They'll have to try and retake this area themselves, lest they be constantly concerned about getting wrapped on either site.
sAw has largely been outmaneuvering Eyeballers, but honestly, more often than that, they've been out-aiming and getting some pretty fortunate rounds. It's a combination of everything that can go wrong. And it is going wrong so far. Can flusha put a stop to it? He's been one of the more stable hands so far, but flashes galore likely to stream true. Muterus and Arizdoce both finding a kill apiece simultaneously, and once again, seems like this is going to be nearly impossible. Muterus gives out his position as well in his retreat backwards, so they're going to be looking to obsess over finding him, but he's the hell out of there. There is nothing at all to find and all the risk in the world.
Finally, they figure out where Muterus has gone off to. He's back to his old position in the generators, and the nade will finish him off, so at the very least, they punish him for his efforts, but his job's done. He got his kill on the lurk. He made it so that there was no fast response to what was an entry over towards the B site. And Muterus is more than happy with that. A couple kills on the exit, sure, but sAw are up to 7 already on the attack.
I don't even know who I asked to step up at this point from Eyeballers, right? Like, because Pepstar can't continue trying to get aggressive. He's only found success once or so. Yeah, at this point, it seems like more of an expected situation. flusha, sure, he might get 1 kill on the B bomb site, but beyond that, like, what are you asking from him? And all 3 of the A site players just are falling apart. sapec, Shine, and JW just aren't getting much done.
Yeah, as far as characterizing their play, like flusha, you want him to be one of these prongs, but throughout his whole career, he's not really been like a massive instigating kind of player. You know, he will mainly outposition you. He'll out-aim you in like some critical moment.
He's a late round guy.
Yes. You want him leading the charge. It is hard. You know, that's where you want someone like sapec to get more involved. And usually on P sides, that is where he is far more, you know, an entry sort of player. But CT, it is kind of here or there about who decides to go for plays like that. Depends game to game, map to map. On the same bus. It's headed to Struggle Town.
Fully blind Sean will be caught out. Usurks to take him down, and sapec's nowhere nearby to actually get the trade in time. Molotov to keep him out of position, and as soon as he finds his kill, the advantage is still returned into sAw's hands. JW got a spotted on the rifle, but that's not enough to get too much done. Secondary Molotov as well. Muterus almost burnt down, but keeps himself alive with just a 7 HP.
I mean, you look at the position of Arizdoce. He's pressuring in from the back line, and so they've missed the timing on him rotating through the B bomb site. These players can't escape.
But he can't really go forward either because Arizdoce is coming in. Beautiful flashbang, but he doesn't actually get the kill initially on flusha, so flusha can respond. They do at least secure their route backwards, and that's exactly what they're looking to exercise now. JW and flusha simply have nothing to offer. It seems like most of JW's kills is unfortunately just as well. And I know that that's true for a lot of them, but more so for him.
Yeah, another kill added to the tally where Muterus was sent to the bomb regardless of where he went, so he had to push forward and somehow catch one of them off guard. Had his knife drawn. Wasn't ready for Eyeballers to stick around as heavily as they did. And sure, these rounds are costly, but with each and every one that sAw wins, it just becomes more and more justified. They're fine to take these consolations and take these hits to their economy, considering they've already won out the half with 8. A different map, a different shotgun. sapec with an XM, trying to play up close to ramp. sAw have been putting a lot of priority on this area in these rounds gone by. In fact, they want to get a little bit physical, play in front of that deep ramp smoke, but sapec's not seeing a whole lot of anything. They're trapped behind that box, and that Molotov is segmenting both sides from it. The flash is great, but sapec actually caught by him and Shine right behind him. The damage is great, but no kills found off of that shotgun. So a 4-on-3 after the dust settles. sAw with an advantage that only peels further into their favor. Ares Dolce finding one at B, but the flusha trade does mean that sAw are left with limited options.
I know it's an 8-1, but this could very well have been like a 4-4 situation for Eyeball. There's so many rounds where it feels like they've just barely missed the timing, barely been flashed, barely made a small mistake, and unfortunately can't keep doing that again and again. Does the low. These players are low enough that even one tick on U-Jerks would have been enough, but JW's gone, just trying to peel his way through the elevator smoke. And while U-Jerks was softened up, they know exactly where flusha is now. He's pinned in position, that AWP of Story holding and locking him in place, but he took the low ground and Story wasn't ready. Lining up, but no. Muterus isn't missing a beat on kills like that. 11 for him, the in-game leader of sAw, and sAw are now up to 9. And no signs of stopping.
They are
No signs of stopping whatsoever.
outmaneuvering him. Like you said earlier on.
That flashbang was perfect.
I mean, the flash, I think, was the eyeballers as well, which is...
Well, that was imperfect.
yeah. Not sure. I think there was one thrown by sAw, but I thought the eyeballers players dodged it.
The first flash was from Eyeballer. I think the second one was from sAw. But regardless, the point is they were blind. They couldn't
and they were
see.
ready.
Yeah. That XM could have found a lot of success, but now instead you're back on the bye with 2 players once again in a compromised position. Not that it would have really mattered. We haven't really seen pretty much any success from Eyeballer so far at all.
Yeah, we're not even getting, you know, these sort of forced opening duels from JW, which was, I think, one of the silver linings to what was an ultimately pretty poor half on Inferno.
Yeah, he tried early on from Tarp with the M4, but just wasn't quite able to get that coordination to the same extent and whatnot. flusha now back to Ye Old Faithful. Gotta get a bit of magic now. Oh no. Not just spotted, but they've actually been caught out completely. Shine manages to push through and find a kill. Unfortunately, Roman, who gets it right, had also found another frag earlier on, so despite a cute little play, he does not have an advantage. Freest kill in the West.
Yeah, and magnificent. With their gun, no less. An SMG. Extra money, they don't care about that. But it's insult to injury. Pepsource 4 health is not going to be enough to hold on to this A site, so they're somewhat reliant on flusha finding something on his adventure through B. But what, he's got a mag and committing to this on a flank. I wouldn't say it's the ideal weapon to have.
At least throw it away, man. Right, at least try and chuck it at their faces or something. Pick it up and throw it at them if you have to. No, okay. He does throw it away.
But he might just give this weapon over to somebody else for him to have a shotgun in the next round.
I don't think B-side Vertigo is unfortunately quite as conducive. There's angles, but yeah, not quite the apps.
See the kind of confidence that sAw are playing this map with, even though they lost some pretty heartbreaking rounds on Inferno. This has been a staple of pretty much every sAw roster that's come to fruition in the past 3 or 4 years. this, Nuke, those are ones that they like to really hammer in on their rise.
I think Nuke's been a little bit more hit or miss, right? But this has been the consistent. Uterus just has something about this map down to lock. Again, the tar progression gets absolutely nothing. sapec and JW, the combination that they've tried numerous times here on the A-bomb site, finding absolutely nothing.
Caught with nades out. This happened on Inferno as well when we were looking at their CT side. They're trying to set up for retake utility, or they're trying to slow down the push with a Molotov, and they just get caught by a player aggressing right into them and just shooting them while they've got... I mean, they just don't have their gun out. It's strange because, to some respects, I'm sure they know this just as well. Like, if they're just gonna push into us, we need to have maybe an extra player there that's throwing the util, but have our guns ready for those fights. And they have in certain moments, but then they've been out-dueled, and so now they've opted to try and slow the roll more by, you know, pulling the util out themselves, get that extra Molotov down, the extra HE that might slow them down. But they're still just unable to find a solution that works. In fact, Story will even make the job a little easier. Oh my... pebzor could have very well gotten away with 3 kills attributed to him, even though he would have only been credited with 2 of them.
Unfortunately, none of them would have mattered all that much when you're down 111.
No, almost certainly not. It wouldn't have changed the outcome of the round. Nor the outcome of this buy.
Yeah, maybe not even the outcome. But as one-sided as it is, an 11-4 half could maybe transition into some sort of comeback epiphany. Nice grenade. Will be doing a pretty sizable amount of damage, actually. I would honestly love to see Eyeballers maybe just change something up and prioritize, hell, like even a hyper defensive setup or something like it. Just play for the retake, because their duels on the A ramp have just not gone their way.
Yeah, and they actually do seem like they're, you know, they've got the retake Molotovs and the lineups for planter positions pretty much on lock. But anytime they've used them, it's always been in a desperate spot. pebzor 1 for 1 over on this B bomb site. Does tank a nade, and the Molotov will force him further forward. I don't think they'll anticipate that he's going to go as aggressive as this. pebzor could just completely uproot any idea of a B play.
Well, that idea of a B play has been taken away, though. Muterus is the only one left, and he's going to get a freebie. pebzor not aware at all of a player back in shelf, and there's no one to refrag either. Shine, goodbye. Don't challenge Muterus on his own map. Roman has to contend with the players who've rotated over, but they've been contending with those players all game long. sapec and JW, they're not even contention. They're just stats for some now.
Yeah, bullied. And you know, looking at the veto earlier on, I was sort of saying, like, if you wanted to see Eyeballers play 3 maps, you know, a 3rd map decider on Inferno, Eyeballers are very much used to that. And that's why they sometimes win best of 3 series. But it felt like they did want a guarantee to some extent coming into this series, and maybe this is why. You know, this Vertigo from sAw has really just picked them to pieces.
Oh. JW might finally have an opportunity to provide some value through Tarp. That's a position he's been struggling with so far. However, they maintain aggression. Want to keep this 4v3 and actually convert on it. Aris Doce moving forward. JW almost caught out with a position completely looking the other way, but instead he will just be a 2v3 as his teammate dies in his place.
Oh, the nade. Wasn't all that needed.
Wall. Looking for the blood in the water. 2 versus 1. Muterus has pulled off some pretty magical rounds, some pretty great calls as well. And with the smoke down, he can try and differentiate. AK in his hand, but not ready for PepSor to shut him down. Still, I don't think so particularly minds the fact that they've lost the second round, but at the very least some hope.
Nice action just down the ramp. Caught sAw trying to sneak around the deep ramp smoke a couple of times over. And JW just able to stand his ground as a result of it. Definitely an important piece, but like you said, has had his difficulties in this game. I like this. A little bit more aggressive here on the eyeballers. flusha ahead of the B main smoke. Then he realizes that there's no presence here. So it's all about how much he wants to sort of push those limits, if even to do so would be a bit of a risk. So I imagine would have accounted for it to some capacity, but already losing so much health on Roman, who's been one of the leading men in taking over that A ramp territory.
A lot of HP loss out from Uterus as well. However, remember, PepSor has generally been playing the second player towards the B bomb site recently, but they've left B mid open. flusha has been forced to rotate back over, so there is a large chasm in the map. They try to make up for it by getting aggressive, but that aggression is just punished. That chasm is about to be explored, but not before Muterus's kill is found. So 3-on-3, utility aplenty for the T side. Will not be the easiest place to try and go in from, but flusha still making the attempt, gets another frag, and actually gets away to safety behind the Jennies, and he wants to keep going for a little bit more. flusha out there. Great kills to try and end out this half as well. A 12-3 found, courtesy of a 3K from him. The question is, can they do anything in the second half? We'll find out after a short break. A battering. An absolute battering. You could say it's a trebuchet, it's a catapult, it's a lot of other medieval weapons as well, because what we saw being done to eyeballs was some old school brutality.
Yeah, I couldn't get the defenses up. No burning oil to stop the sAw siege. So now they're going to have to try their best on their defense. Or rather, on their offense. To bring this one back. I was thinking about sAw and how they might just take this one in the next 4 rounds. But this pistol will help determine a lot of that.
It has to be the necessary first step, and the first step starts with Ket for Eyeballer Arizdocha to deliver, and deliver he does. Second found as he burns away in the flames. Trades are there, but the bomb's been dropped. Story continues to come through and be a bit of a rock and roller. That B bomb side.
That was, honestly, very easy looking. One player taking first contact, an instant headshot, and then the follow-up flash. Eyeballer's full blind for what was a follow-up. And then Story just able to take his place. So, really marvelous stuff between the two of them. Obviously, ex-teammates from their For the Win stint. I was watching there for definitely a longer period of time. Glocks here for the Eyeballers to try and answer back, and I don't think they'll find too much success. The SMGs, the HEs are chewing them up, and Arizdocha there as well to alleviate that pressure Muterus was under. A man who plays in the center of the map, and as much as we might have talked about it before, heading into this Vertigo, about how, honestly, how well Muterus plays on CT side Vertigo, I don't imagine we're going to see much of it.
Yeah.
Been doing his best work on the T side, weirdly enough, but that's part of what I was talking about when, you know, U-Jerks, or Arizdocha came in rather, that Muterus feels like he's, to some extent, had the leash pulled off of him. Far more involved.
And just as effective. Dude, Arizdocha is also such a nice addition to the sAw lineup. Generally speaking, seems like everyone who just come through and made so just a little bit better. And right now they're looking like they're a whole lot better than Eyeballers. Getting aggro, but Arizdocha actually spots him out. Will be looking for a secondary face as well as a third. Arizdocha. Nicely done, and they are falling apart. Eyeballers will have absolutely nothing to offer to this game. Flusha, the only player to have gone past 10 kills, and he's sitting on 18, but the rest of his teammates are very far behind.
It's actually quite cool to see. I think even the interim coach for sAw is somebody that used to play at one point or another for the Win, and had a chance to play with both U-Jerks and Arizdocha for, I think, 4 or 5 months before his departure and his move to more analyst and coaching work. That's where he jumped ship to sAw. So there's many connections between the up-and-comer organization and sAw, a mainstay in the Portuguese region. And I mean, surely flexing their muscles here on the map that has been a staple for such a long time. sapec has other chances. 1 kill, but it's traded immediately, and Roman is there to alleviate some of that extra pressure. Smoke down, Muterus there to cover his retreat, but Roman's pinned in, but he's still keeping the Eyeballers at bay.
3 HP is all he's got, but he's actually managed to move all the way out and take another duel from behind the flames of the Molotov. Bepsar late to find the kill, and Story will be unable to do that either. Let's get the spot, and Arizdocha starts to rotate, but god damn, that is criminal.
Yeah.
That they let Roman get away with so much.
Ridiculous that he even ran out with his knife, even though he knew they were ramp moments ago. But it's now calmed down into this 2-on-2, a vacuum. Certainly felt around the map, and sAw have tried to plug that up as best they can. They separated while the Eyeballers have allowed them to reset.
Deuce will have Story in a very good position as long as he doesn't need to scope out, but he's starting to get suspicious about a flank to come through, and Pepsar, he's going to be very fortunate about his timing, potentially moving in from behind back to CT, and Story turns back. Talked about fortune in his diving, but not so much in his crosshair placement. Unfortunately, just wasn't quite ready. And now Flush is all alone. Is the player you want to have in this position. Khalil recovered. Flashbang on him as well, but a smoke down and the bomb's being stuck. The flashbang overhead won't be doing too much. Flusha can't find the kill. Story is covering it off, and sAw will take it away 16-3. They looked untouchable.
Yeah, I mean, a fantastic showing from sAw, all in all, from this map. We felt like we had a few moments where Eyeball certainly could have turned the other cheek and had a few more rounds on that first half. You know, we had a lot of close rounds, whether it was...